We welcome you to the ACC on ESPN. Turning into a great night in Tallahassee for the ACC Championship. North Carolina State, 19th ranked Florida State. The Wolfpack haven't been to the NCAA since 2007. Florida State is in the finals for the 4th time in the last 5 years. They beat North Carolina in a shutout in the semis. Meanwhile, a couple of wins over the Virginia schools for North Carolina State to reach the finals. And alongside two-time Olympic medalist Jenny Finch, Adam Amin, Florida State essentially a lock to make the NCAA tournament. They're the regular season champs in the ACC. North Carolina State is not. Their RPI is 45. They're playing very well as of late, but they can remove all doubt if they win tonight.
Luckily for them, they're playing their best softball, but for NC State, every game matters, and this was a big one tonight.
North Carolina State this season set a school record, 86 home runs, and Renata Davis, second all-time in ACC history in single-season home runs. She has 26 this season. 2 of them came in the opening game against Virginia in this ACC tournament. A lot of power this season for North Carolina State. Meanwhile, Lacey Waldrop has given up 3 homers all year. All ACC first team, led the ACC in ERA, and just a sophomore, Jenny.
Yes, Lacey is down in the zone, mostly drops. And luckily for her, facing a team like NC State, that's where you want to be, in the zone, keeping the ball in the park and keeping that ball down, keeping these NC State hitters off balance. Did
a great job getting ground balls against North Carolina yesterday. A dozen ground ball outs against the Tar Heels in the semifinals through a fantastic game, a 2-hit shutout. She started game 1, the opener against Boston College. She and the great Monica Perry, a fantastic 1-2 duo, pitched a combined shutout. Florida State is not allowed a run in this ACC tournament. Renata Davis trying to change that. And off we go from Tallahassee. Only Megan Baltzel of Longwood has more home runs this season. Baltzel in the Big South tournament earlier today hit her 29th of the year. .50 RBIs for Davis, just a sophomore, was the freshman of the year, the rookie of the year in the ACC last season. She hit just 5 home runs. The power numbers have completely shifted, not just for her, but for everybody at North Carolina State.
Yes, with the coaching change, Coach Rychek coming in and the players really buying into his philosophy and his big focus of staying through the ball. And we'll see throughout today and throughout the lineup, most of the NC State hitters are on that back line of the batter's box. They want to see ball as long as they can. Coach Rychek says the longer we see the ball, the more time we have.
See it all the way in the back of the box, Davis, for this 2-1 delivery. Popped up. First baseman Victoria East is over, and there's 1 down. Florida State defensively, top half of the ACC in fewest errors. They have 1 error in the ACC tournament so far. Macy Cheatham is a walk-on who about a month ago caught one of her first games for Lacey Waldrop when you and I were here to see their matchup against Virginia. She's pretty much been Waldrop's personal catcher since.
Yes, you have to love Macy Cheatham and the story behind it. She was a walk-on. She got the opportunity and took advantage of it. Coach Alameda for FSU loves the way she leads from behind the plate, her vocal cords behind the plate, leading this team.
Waldrop fields her position very well. She throws out Caitlin Dent, who's got a home run in the ACC tournament. And quickly, 2 up and 2 down on just 5 pitches. Scouting report on Waldrop, her best pitches are drop ball.
It is, yes. Waldrop anywhere from 61 to 64 miles per hour. Her best pitch is her drop ball. She mixes speeds a lot. We're going to see a lot of changeups today. And her off curve, which is just a beautiful pitch, we'll see quite a bit.
There's Chelsea Tate, 296 hitter this season. She's the only one of the first 5 NC State hitters that does not have double-digit home runs this year. 86 home runs for North Carolina State. And quickly, Waldrop is ahead 0-2. When she gets going early, she becomes so dynamic and so hard to hit. We've already seen it in this tournament so far. Plus the shutout yesterday, and she really did well against NC State earlier this year. 0-2. Just like that, a 1-2-3 inning for Waldrop, and the Wolfpack are set down in order. 214 strikeouts this season for Lacey Waldrop, one of the great pitchers in the ACC, sends down the pack in order, and Florida State is coming to bat at the bottom of the first. Florida State coming to bat here in the bottom of the first after the Wolfpack are sent down in order to open up our game in Tallahassee. Record-setting season just about for Florida State this year. They hit over 300 as a team. It's only happened 3 times before and hadn't happened since the 90s for Florida State. And Courtney Cenas is a homer away from breaking Yorubi Alicart's single-season record. She's got 14, but she's only had 1 in about the last month or so. She's in a bit of a slump coming into today's action. Meanwhile, the ACC Pitcher of the Year in the circle for North Carolina State, absolute workhorse, Emily Wyman has pitched so many innings, about 87% of the Wolfpack's innings this year.
She has. She's in the best shape of her life, she says, and after a freshman year, kind of not having the year she wanted, she really took ownership, and they didn't have a coaching staff over the summer. She didn't know what was going to happen, but she took ownership, and she stayed there at school, took summer school, and worked extremely hard with her strength coach, and just really worked on getting in shape, played summer ball, played in a couple tournaments as well, and just having a terrific year, 288 innings on this year, but she feels great.
And she deals a strike to Victoria East, who was second in the ACC behind the Player of the Year for Georgia Tech, Ashley Thomas, in hits. Wyman had a lot of issues, though, with this Florida State lineup the first time around in the sweep for Florida State back in March. Went 0-3, had an ERA near 4, and gave up 4 home runs to this Florida State lineup during that weekend series. 1-1.
And talking with Emily Wyman about the series against FSU, and they were a different ball club then too.
Right.
They've kind of turned the corner and they're peaking. And she said that last game, though, that was their game. They were, one swing away from getting into that ball club. They lost by 2 that third game, and that's what I think they all come together and trying to realize and bring back the confidence coming into this series and this game is, we were with them, we hung with them, and we can take it one swing of the bat away.
It was a rough first couple of games, and all of a sudden game 3 seemed like they were in it, and it was a rough February, March for this North Carolina State team at times. They've been very hot since the start of April. 2-2 pitch. First strikeout of the night for Emily Wyman. And behind her, she's got one of the best defenses in the country. She fields her position very well, too. Lana Van Dyken at third had a really rough start to the year. 12 errors in the first 32 games, only 1 error in her last 20. This is a team that's top 30 in the nation in fielding percentage and only committed 46 errors this year. That was the second fewest in the ACC. Just get a look at Van Dyken at third. Ready to defend against Courtney Cenas, who digs in. Big bopper from Hawaii. 14 home runs this year. He's 1 home run away from setting a new single-season mark in Florida State history. Yorubi Alicart's record in 2007. Closing in on Yorubi's RBI record for a single season as well. She's got 52. The record is 56, but she only has 1 home run and 1 RBI in about the last month.
As you see, Cenas not afraid to swing the bat, and that's something in the later part of the season. Here you are in the ACC championships. You faced these teams 3 times already. You know these pitchers, and you know what's going to come. You're not afraid, and you want to make sure you get all 3 strikes. And we saw Courtney Cenas swinging kind of out of her shoes there on the first, but that's what it's all about. Aggressiveness, taking advantage of it, and making every at-bat count.
0-2. Just missed the corner, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. For those of you who've been watching the Big East Championship, they're scoreless going into the 10th inning in Tampa. South Florida and Notre Dame, 7 hits combined, but no runs on the board between those 2 teams. A ball and 2 strikes on Cenas. And a ground ball towards Van Dyken, but foul. Much like Lacey Waldrop, Emily Wyman's best pitch is her drop ball, and only this year did she really start working off that drop ball.
Yes, and kind of all of her pitches go around her drop. It is her best pitch. She has a good changeup. Yesterday, Coach Rychik said it was a little sloppy. He would like it to be more pinpointed, which she's hoping today, but she throws around 63, 64 miles an hour and really hits her spots, locates that drop ball.
1-2 again to Cenas. Good at bat here from the Hawaiian native. Junior from Hawaii. Shortstop last year, has played a bunch of different positions in her career. One of the great hitters in Florida State history and one of the great hitting seasons for the Seminoles. They've always been known for their pitching, and that was the case again this year, but everybody just about got in on the hitting action. A team that's hitting over 300 this year with 56 homers. That's third in the ACC. Another 1-2.
Something the coaching staff really took pride in was increasing those power numbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have Lacey Waldrop and Monica Perry in the circle, you have the defense, you have the pitching, now you just need the hitting. And we're seeing that develop and blossom this year for Florida State.
There's the ACC Coach of the Year, Lonnie Alameda, who took over for the great JoAnne Graf and has continued the success. 13 straight NCAA tournament appearances. It's going to be 14 this year. Good at bat here from Seminoles. And she grounds a 1-2 towards the hole. Davis with the play from her knees, but safe at first is Seminoles. First base runner of the night.
What an incredible leadoff at bat for Courtney Seminoles. Really making Wyman work in the circle and almost probably protecting that third pitch, trying to find a hole, placing that in the 5-6 hole. Renata Davis not able to finish the play. Good job by Leah Jones over there at first base to come off the bag and make sure you keep the ball in front of you, keeping Seminoles at first base.
And now you have to deal with Maddie O'Brien, who has hit a homer off of Wyman this year and has a home run in the ACC tournament. And about a month ago, you and I were here when Florida State took on Virginia. And Lonnie Alameda before the game said, I think she's going to break out. Sure enough, had a home run in that game and has been very hot ever since.
She has truly just a steadfast point highlight in the lineup for FSU.
Crushed one off Spingola yesterday of North Carolina. Lori Spingola, one of the better pitchers in the ACC this season as well. Nine home runs this season, already more than she had a year ago. 8 last season for the redshirt sophomore from Palm Harbor. Seminoles has good speed at first. She stays, and it's a 2-ball-and-1-strike count on O'Brien. Seminoles has 16 steals this year. That leads Florida State. The Seminoles top half in the ACC in stolen bases at 66. Two and two on O'Brien, and this was yesterday. It was a 1-0 lead for Florida State, and then here's some major insurance from O'Brien off of Spingola.
Powered through that inside pitch almost as if she knew it was coming. Her hands went so quick to the ball.
Wyman's 2-2. She's trying those corners just off the plate a couple of times against Seminoles and O'Brien. Matt Dunbar is our home plate umpire tonight, calling balls and strikes. Tim Casati's at first. James Colsey is at third, although currently he's behind the second base bat. Payoff pitch. Seminoles goes. Little flare towards right. Diving catch by Tate, and she'll get a double play. One of the better defensive teams in the country and in the ACC. They turned their second double play of the ACC tournament. A little flare off the bat of O'Brien. Full extension from Tate. Doubled her off at first to close out a scoreless first inning.
It just seems like this game 3 was meant to be. So the rain has returned.
All of the Alabama players out of the dugout trying to prove a point that they can play in this rain.
Called strike 3. Alabama with their first national championship.
It's all about mayhem when you get to this time of year. The road to the Women's College World Series with the selection show Sunday night, 10 Eastern on ESPNU. The last 5 matchups in the Women's College World Series. The SEC winning its first title with Alabama last year. Oklahoma this season, the #1 team in the nation. Really felt like the weather turned things around for Alabama after that long delay. We thought we might be delayed here tonight in Tallahassee, but it has turned into a gorgeous night in Florida. First pitch swinging, Hannah Summer, the cleanup hitter, is retired. She pops out to Kelly Hensley. 1 pitch, 1 out for Lacey Waldrop here in the second. She was very efficient in the first, too.
She was. She's going right at these NC State hitters, and Lacey Waldrop has really blossomed into her own. And you can just see how confident she is in the circle out there. And Coach Alamito talks highly about how she's grown over the year and really just become her own person out there. And Macy Cheatham, you know, that great battery relationship there, but Coach Alamito said, you know, she's not afraid to shake off pitches.
Right.
And something she talked about too is, you know, going with her gut. And as a pitcher, it just made me get goosebumps, because there's nothing better than that gut feeling and knowing what pitch to throw and understanding that feeling. And then really just, you know, for both teams really, NC State with Emily Wyman and Lacey Waldrop, both sophomores, you know, they have a bright future ahead of themselves. Yes.
A ball and a strike on Scout Albertson, who had an RBI yesterday. Drove in the first run against Virginia Tech in the semifinal. And she's got 34 driven in this year. 20 of those have come in the last 9 games. So she is red hot right at the perfect time. Junior from Archdale, North Carolina.
NC State has really been just taking batting practice, I feel like, in games. Home run after home run.
Yeah.
You know, numerous double-digit home runs, you know, 4 in a day. Looking at their stats, it's just incredible what they've been able to do. And it's like 60 of their last, you know, home runs have been in the last month of the season.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Albertson. She's got a dozen of them this year. They just shattered the old record at NC State. It was 66 home runs the last time they went to the NCAA tournament. That was 2007. Sean Rychik played for the national team. He was a great hitter for fast pitch. He knew how to coach these players. And that one launched to left off the base of the wall. Picked up by Austin. Gunning for 2, Albertson, and she's in. First base runner for North Carolina State. She's in scoring position. Albertson with a 2-bagger.
Adam, these aren't big power hitters. You know, you can see Scout Albertson in there at a 5'3", but you can see seeing the ball deep as they talk and getting through it, just like Scout Albertson did there, sending it into deep left field.
And now Bethany Wells gets a chance. One of 3 seniors. That's it on this team. She's a redshirt senior. There's that good off-speed delivery from Waldrop. Her changeup looked very good yesterday. She gets a strike on Bethany Wells.
Which Rychik was talking about yesterday, and seeing his seniors and talking with a couple of them, saying usually we're packing our bags, but we're having the opportunity to play tomorrow. And you could see him almost get teary-eyed, you know, about this is what it's all about. And for him, it's not about the wins and losses, it's about those moments. And he's definitely seen many of those moments this year with the senior class. And they talked about him coming in, and, you know, the seniors told him, we don't want to rebuild. You know, there is no rebuilding time. This is our senior year. We want to win.
Sean Rychik coming over from Boston University. Took BU to 3 NCAA tournaments, including last year. Got to face his old buddy Mike Larrabee, the Arkansas coach in the regionals. He got eliminated eventually by Cal. But a professional hitter, and his staff has done wonders this season. Between his 2 assistants, who both worked with him at different times at Boston. Here you see one of them. That's fine pitching coach Courtney Oliver, who was at Hofstra, and there's the hitting coach Katie Grimes, who was on that Hawaii team that belted 158 home runs in 2010. And here is Leah Jones with an RBI chance. She takes a strike, and she's one of the more clutch hitters for NC State. 343 with runners in scoring position for a 242 season hitter. Ball and a strike.
Really, Adam, I'm just amazed, because usually there's that transition period where you know you have to get the players on the same page. You have to have that buy-in time and get them to buy in and really teach them your philosophies and your ways. But this NC State team, they seemed ready for it.
So quickly. 1-1. On the corner for called strike 2, and Waldrop with a big chance here to close out a scoreless second inning. Has already struck out 1 today. Just 242, but very good with runners in scoring position, Jones. Strike 3. A second strikeout for Waldrop comes at a pretty good time.
Lacey Waldrop showing just how much movement she has. That inside drop ball, getting Leah Jones to swing through it.
We'll keep it here for a moment. We've got South Florida and Notre Dame in the bottom of the 10th, and USF, as a matter of fact, has just seemingly clinched it. They're up 1-0 in the 10th inning. South Florida and Notre Dame. There was a pitcher's duel in that one. Sarah Nevins closed it out for USF. Well, as soon as they're done in Tampa, looks like that game is actually still going. We'll get you caught up on what's going on here today. North Carolina State has not been to the NCAA tournament since 2007. They've only ever been twice. 06 when they beat Florida State in the ACC championship, then 07 the year after. Both of those under Lisa Navas, and now under Sean Rychik trying to make it back to the NCAAs. NC State and Florida State met earlier this season. It was a sweep where Florida State outscored NC State 17-1. This is the 33rd meeting, and as I mentioned, a rematch of the 06 final. But this is a completely different Wolfpack team that Florida State is seeing tonight that they saw about 2.5 months ago.
It is, and Adam, we talked about, obviously Florida State leading the ACC. They faced them early, so he said their toughest competition was at the beginning. And so there was that hill to pass, but there's something that you talk about, the confidence, and you still have to hit the ball no matter who you're playing, and they're doing it game in and game out, putting up those numbers, and they're feeding off that confidence, and you can see how it's carried them through the ACC tournament.
They got swept by Florida State, then they ended up losing 5 more in a row, and they played some tough competition: Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan. Then they went 3-3, and then right at the end of March, they beat Georgia Tech, and from then on, they've been on this hot streak. They've won 18 of the last 20. They've won 11 in a row coming into the finals. And they're playing about as hot as anybody really in the country, and that is certainly something the selection committee is going to take a look at come tomorrow night when we have the NCAA selection show. You'll see it, by the way, on ESPNU at 10 Eastern as Kelly Hensley leads it off for Florida State here in the second.
A lot of teams around the country are playing to play one more day, and they don't know if this is their last weekend of play, or a lot of teams will be seated around the television watching the regional show to find out if they make it and where they're going.
Florida State had to travel last year. Had to go all the way out west. Went to Los Angeles and Westwood to take on UCLA. Ended up losing to San Diego State. Twice were eliminated. Three balls and no strikes on Hensley. In Tallahassee, Adam Amin, Jenny Finch, North Carolina State and Florida State in the ACC championship game. The automatic bid to the NCAA is up for grabs. Florida State essentially already a lock. They won the regular season title. NC State not necessarily in without tonight. 4-pitch walk to Kelly Hensley, a good power hitter. Wyman was careful. It was the first walk of the night for the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Wyman.
Something Wyman and I talked about before the game is if you are pitching this many innings, teams are getting a lot of looks at you, and how do you keep changing it up? And she credited Coach Courtney Oliver of a great game calling, switching it up and adjusting from game to game, hitter to hitter, and trying not to be predictable.
She faces Morgan Bullock. Gets one past her, and Bullock, the team leader in hitting this year at .365, second team All-ACC. Excellent sacrifice hitter. Very good small ball hitter. Leads the team with sacrifices in 7. She's on a 14-game hit streak right now, too. Best season of her career. And she's behind 0-2 against Wyman.
True triple threat hitter. Bullock is. She can use the short game really well. Power hitting, slapper, above average speed. Someone who you want up in this situation with Hensley getting the leadoff walk. Bullock trying to move her over.
Protected the plate there, but lined out to the third baseman, Lana Van Dyken. Tomorrow, don't miss a doubleheader postseason lacrosse. The first round is underway. Great matchup on ESPN2 at 1. Cornell taking on number 6 Maryland. Then at 3 on ESPNU. Ohio State has never hosted an NCAA tournament game. They'll host Towson at Ohio Stadium tomorrow. It's first round coverage of the NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship on ESPN2 and ESPNU, and watch ESPN. And Bullock retired, and here is Austin. Great season for her, hitting .348. She hit a home run against NC State back in March, but it was off the other pitcher, off of Chelsea Stanfield. High chopper, the shortstop Davis charging in, clutches, throws, not in time.
Kirsten Austin getting on top of that drop ball, hustling down the line to first base. And Renata Davis at shortstop, double pumped. It seemed like she lost her footing a little bit, fell down after the throw.
A 2 on and 1 out for Bailey Shinella. He takes a strike. We welcome those of you who just saw South Florida win its first ever Big East championship. 2 on and 1 out here in the second for Florida State. A force out at second base of Kirsten Austin. Moving to third is Kelly Hensley. Safe at first is Bailey Shinella. 2 away here in the second inning of a scoreless game. North Carolina State beating the Virginia Schools to get to its first ACC final since 2008. Florida State defeated Boston College and shut out North Carolina to reach its 4th final in the last 5 years. Florida State won the regular season ACC championship. They're essentially a lock to make the NCAA field. North Carolina State's RPI is 45. They've won 11 in a row and 18 of their last 20. Maybe enough to allow the selection committee to bring them into the field. Virginia Tech and North Carolina out of the ACC still up in the air depending on what the selection committee wants to do. But North Carolina State can remove all doubt of whether or not they belong in the field if they win it here tonight in Tallahassee against the ACC regular season champion, whom they were swept by back in March. A huge season for North Carolina State, a fantastic turnaround under first-year head coach Sean Rychik. Macy Cheatham digs in with runners at the corners and 2 outs in a scoreless second inning against the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Emily Wyman. Takes a ball high and away. Adam Amin alongside 2-time Olympic medalist Jenny Finch here at JoAnne Graf Field in Tallahassee for the ACC final. This is a rematch of the '06 championship when North Carolina State won its only ACC title, knocking off the Seminoles. Their only other tournament trip was 2007. Cheatham just 6 for 38 this year. She's a former walk-on who has inserted herself as one of the starting catchers for Florida State this season in a big spot here.
She is, yes. Florida State trying to get on the board. Runners on first and third. Macy Cheatham, not really known for her offenses, but really in the lineup for her defense.
Ahead of the count. 3 balls and no strikes.
Let's see Emily Wyman knowing, I'm sure, that Cheatham isn't really a big threat offensively, and in this situation you really want to go at Macy Cheatham. You don't want to go further down the line.
Taken all the way for a strike. Emily Wyman, the ACC Pitcher of the Year, just a sophomore. Had a rough close to the season last year. Worked a ton in the offseason, pitched 288 innings out of the 330 coming into tonight for NC State this year. Chanel at first, Hensley at third. And the 3-1 is low and inside. The bases are loaded for Florida State here in the second with Alex Kosov coming up.
Big at bat for Macy Cheatham there, and Coach Alameda even said before the game she's one of those hitters that she's taking till she gets a strike.
Right.
And in this case, it's worked in her favor.
2 walks and a hit in this inning, an infield single. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. Emily Wyman this season led the ACC with 30 wins, 87% of the innings pitched this season. Only Lacey Waldrop, who's starting tonight for Florida State, had a better ERA and a .217 opponent's batting average. However, she went 0-3 against Florida State this year when Florida State swept North Carolina State all the way back in March. Did give up 4 home runs in that series, but she's so much different. This whole NC State team is different than they were about 2.5 months ago. Here's the scouting report on Wyman, a drop ball pitcher.
Yes, Adam, that was kind of a turning point in the season for NC State after that Florida State series. And here's the scouting report for Emily Wyman. 63 to 64 miles an hour. Her best pitch is her drop ball. She'll produce a lot of ground balls. She has a good changeup. Coach Rychuk said it was a little sloppier than they had hoped yesterday, and she hopes to be able to pinpoint it more today.
She gets a strike against Alex Kosov. Kosov has had a nagging ankle injury for most of the season, but recently has been back in the lineup, just a freshman. Scored a run yesterday against North Carolina. Big spot with the bases loaded. Flipped into foul ground. Lana Van Dyken makes the catch, and Emily Wyman gets out of a jam in the second inning. Well, as soon as you walk in, you get a pretty exciting second inning, but still scoreless as we head to the third of the ACC Championship. We welcome you into Tallahassee alongside 2-time Olympic medalist Jenny Finch, Adam Amin. Florida State essentially a lock to make the NCAA tournament. North Carolina State is not. They're playing very hot as of late. Their RPI is 45, but they can remove all doubt with a win tonight.
Yes, and luckily for NC State, like you said, Adam, they are playing their best softball, but tonight is a big game for them.
Winners of 11 in a row and 18 of their last 20. They have to go up tonight against one of the elite pitchers in the ACC, Lacey Waldrop. 22 wins, only 3 homers allowed this season. Another very good drop ball pitcher.
Yes, Lacey Waldrop mostly down in the zone. 61 to 64 miles per hour. But Adam, that 61 to 64 miles per hour looks so much faster because of her off-speed pitches. She has a changeup and one of the most beautiful off-speed curves I've seen.
Lana Van Dyken, first pitch swinging and a base hit to right field. Leadoff hitter aboard for the first time tonight for North Carolina State.
Lana Van Dyken just getting her barrel there. You see, Waldrop left that a little bit over the plate. And Van Dyken takes advantage of it.
North Carolina State hit 86 home runs this year. That was 5th in the country, 1st in the country in home runs per game, and shattered their old school record. 6 of them belong to Kirsty Grant out of the 9 spots, so some power down here as well. Second team All-ACC Grant takes a strike from Waldrop, who, as you mentioned, only allowed 3 homers all season. So a very interesting dynamic between a pitcher that always keeps the ball down and against a team that has made a huge adjustment from a year ago to this season in terms of their power and how they've approached at the plate. That one popped up behind the plate. Cheatham, known for her defense, makes the catch, and there's one away. Well, the Knicks are trying to do what the Heat and the Spurs did yesterday. That's win Game 3 on the road. They're in Indianapolis tonight, and they may not have J.R. Smith, 102-degree fever earlier today. He's questionable. So Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks get set to take on Paul George and the Pacers. Kia NBA Countdown at 8 on ABC, followed by Knicks and Pacers from Indianapolis. One away for Renata Davis. Second in the country in homers with 26 this year. She fouls one away. It's 0-1. Davis already 2 home runs in the ACC tournament. Had both of those in the opening game on Thursday against Virginia off a very good pitcher in Melanie Mitchell.
And talking with Coach Rychuk, he said when referring to Renata Davis, it was all about slowing the game down. They even made a rule, and they called it the Renata rule, that she has to walk when she's on the field. Because Coach Rychik said when he came in, everything was a mile a minute. And she was fast, quick, and from here to there and trying to do everything. And he was like, whoa, we need to slow the game down. They moved her to the back of the box, offensively and defensively. They moved her to the back of the box offensively, and they're really trying to slow her down with their hands, letting her see the ball as deep as she can. Just taking time, slowing the game down.
You see the Wolfpack, in terms of their power, 4th most in ACC history. They blew away their old record. They had only hit 66 home runs combined in the last 2 years. And they had 86 this year. And Davis, only Megan Baltzel of Longwood, who hit another one today in the Big South tournament, has more. She has 29. There's that very tantalizing changeup of Waldrop. She just missed it low, and it's 2-2.
It is. Sometimes that changeup can be at 35 miles an hour. What a difference from her fast stuff when 61 to 64 miles an hour. And not only is it a great pitch, but she can pinpoint the location on it, which is huge when you're talking off speed and pitching.
Line drive in a left field for a base hit. And there are 2 on here in the 3rd for North Carolina State. Smooth stroke from Renata Davis. You really like her swing, and a lot of these Wolfpack hitters have made the adjustment this season. Sean Rychik and his staff, and you see Katie Grimes there, the assistant coach who was part of that great Hawaii team that made the Women's College World Series in 2010, talking about becoming top hand hitters instead of bottom hand hitters. Talk to me about that.
Right, they really focused on using that backside, staying down in that ball, down in that back leg, and extending their power. And he said, we're not trying to hit home runs. We're just trying to see the ball deep and let the pitcher really supply the power, see the ball and react and stay through that zone. And they've made those adjustments, and in return, they're seeing lots and lots of long balls. And Coach Rychik himself was even almost shocked when he came up to the booth earlier just talking about it, almost giddy about how it has worked.
Yeah.
So great for this NC State team.
Caitlin Dent has a home run in the ACC tournament. Makes a big cut. And the count is even at a ball and a strike. Dent hit 14 home runs this season, including one yesterday. Hit it off of Maggie Tyler of Virginia Tech. The daughter of New York Yankee legend, Bucky Dent.
Her twin brother plays baseball at the University of Florida.
Cody.
And talked about how she's seen him play many a times, but he's never been able to come see her play because they've been in the postseason. Hope he's watching. At least he'll be able to see her play today.
And they're playing Auburn this weekend. It was senior day yesterday, so Bucky was in Gainesville, and then he made the trip to Tallahassee. They're Florida natives. And came in today to see Caitlin, who swings at a 2-1 and fouls it up the line, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dad was the 1978 World Series MVP. Boston Red Sox fans aplenty in the state of Florida, especially older ones who remember that. And not necessarily a fan of Bucky Dent. They have a very colorful nickname for him. Caitlin's been around the sport, baseball and softball, her entire life. 2-2. Ground ball to second. Off the glove of Hensley. Trickling away. Here comes Van Dyken. And the Wolfpack are on the board first in the ACC championship. One 0 North Carolina State here in the 3rd.
Great job by Caitlin Dent putting the ball in play on that right side, advancing the runners. And you can see Renata rounding 3rd. Big at bat for Caitlin Dent, putting the ball on the ground, in play, making things happen.
That's the first run that Florida State has given up in this ACC tournament. A couple of shutouts, including the 2-hit shutout yesterday by Waldrop. Here's Chelsea Tate. No error on the play. They score it as a base hit and an RBI for Caitlin Dent. It's her 3rd of the ACC tournament. Popped up. Victoria East, the first baseman, into foul ground, and there's 2 away.
Good job by Victoria East, calling it early, making it known. We saw Lacey Waldrop, who is an aggressive fielding pitcher. Look at Cheatham behind the plate. Victoria East doing a great job of calling it loud, calling it early. Her coming in, she has a much better view angle of that fly ball and able to pick up the runners after she caught it.
Hannah Summer fouls one away. 10 home runs this season for the freshman from California. A couple of California kids between Tate and Summer back-to-back. Ball 1 strike on Summer. 3 hits and a run in this inning for North Carolina State against Waldrop.
Hannah Summer, known for her power numbers. She hit a home run in her first game at NC State. I said she has 2 home runs on check swings alone. That's some power.
Sean Rychik, 8 years at Boston before coming over to NC State. A 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Waldrop trying to limit the damage here in the 3rd inning. First run allowed between her and Monica Perry here in the ACC tournament. She and Perry combined for a shutout against Boston College. 4 innings for Waldrop, 3 for Perry, and then it was all Waldrop yesterday against North Carolina. One of the elite pitchers in the ACC trying to end this NC State threat. 2-2 pitch. Great changeup for strike 3, and the inning is over. But for the first time in this ACC tournament, somebody has scored against this Florida State pitching staff. Lana Van Dyken comes in to score on the trickler from Dent, and it's 1-0 through 2.5. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. And it's turned into a beautiful day and night in Tallahassee. We're worried a little bit about the weather, but the sun is out, the fans are out. It's 1-0 North Carolina State as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. First run that Florida State has allowed in the ACC tournament. Now Emily Wyman, the ACC Pitcher of the Year, gets to work with a lead. It's the top of the Florida State order: East, Cenas, and O'Brien. There's a lot of power near the top of this order, which has been productive in the ACC tournament so far.
Big inning for Florida State, having top of the lineup up and responding back after that run was scored, trying to get the momentum back in their dugout.
It's a good part of the order to do it against. 10 batters faced so far by Wyman. Half of them have seen a first pitch strike. East is ahead 2-0. First team all ACC. Just missed the knees, maybe a little bit low, and it's 3-0. Wyman already has a couple of walks. Both came in the 2nd when the bases were loaded against her, but she got the final out of the inning to leave them loaded.
For Emily Wyman in the circle, it just doesn't seem like she's found her rhythm quite yet. You said, Adam, 2 walks, 2 innings. Still trying to find that umpire zone.
Hard hit to second on 2 bounces. There's Tate. 1 down. It's been a rare, fantastic offensive season for Florida State, a team that's always been known for its pitching. They're on pace to hit over 300 as a team for the first time since the 90s. It's only been done 3 times in Florida State history. Courtney Cenas is having a huge year, tying the all-time record in Florida State history with 14 home runs.
Both these teams have worked really hard offensively. trying to increase those power numbers. And we're seeing those results happen for both teams. Courtney Cena is one of those athletes that Coach Alameda said you look down in the dugout 9:30 at night and she'll be in there taking cuts. She loves the game. As a coach, you have to love that when you invest so much and you see the players doing it on their own.
Ball and a strike on Seminoles. She's been a little bit cold in the last month or so. She was stuck at 13 home runs for a long time, and then hit one in the final regular season series against Georgia Tech to tie Yorubi Alikar, fantastic Venezuelan player, former Olympian. That's it in the last month or so, trying to break through.
A lot of times as an athlete, when you're going after a record, there's a lot of pressure that's involved, and Coach Alameda talked about it. Everyone's talking about, are you going to be the one to break the record? And she's talking, that was like a monkey off her back almost when she tied it, but now I think there's another one there trying to break it, and it's almost time you need to step away. Keep it simple.
Cena's worked a lot in the cages in the offseason. That's a big key for her power numbers to go up. Now her junior year. A 1-2. She lays off, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. You played against Yorubi, and you know her power. The 14 home run season in 07 at 56 driven in that year. You played against her in Olympic competition and international competition. One of the great hitters in FSU history.
One of the hottest hitters internationally, and just a true ambassador for the game for the Venezuelan national softball team, and was able to come over here and make the record books for Florida State and help them.
There's Maddie O'Brien on deck. Homer in the ACC tournament. One of the hottest hitters for Florida State. 3-2 on Seminoles. In the air, short center, and Renata Davis sprinting to run that ball down. There's 2 away.
Courtney Seminoles trying to get the barrel on that outside, but you can tell it even sounded funny off the bat. Just didn't get a good piece of it. But Renata Davis is showing her range, making a great play on defense.
The middle infield between Davis and back in the first when Chelsea Tate made that diving play to get a double play and end the first inning. Middle infield has come up clutch so far. Here's O'Brien with the bases empty. That's a big key. You prefer to face her with the bases empty. She has a home run against Wyman this year. She's the one who hit into the double play back in the first. Redshirt sophomore, 8 home runs last year, 9 this season.
Watching the game yesterday, Emily Wyman on the mound against Virginia Tech. She did a great job of not giving into the hitters, not throwing to the plate, but throwing to the hitters. And we're seeing a lot of that today. She's throwing to the hands or away, getting them to chase. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of home runs hit around the nation, and you're seeing a lot of balls over the plate. But I think one of the keys to Emily Wyman's success is she doesn't give in. She throws to the hitter.
She did a lot of that yesterday against Virginia Tech, and no more apparent in the last inning. She just threw her 50th pitch here in the finals. In the semis, bases loaded for Virginia Tech, 2-run game, 7th inning, pressure situation for the sophomore, and she threw down and in on a drop ball to Bailey Little and struck her out. Did not give in that at bat. 2-1 to O'Brien is high and away.
It was a beautiful pitch in a high pressure situation, and talking with her before the game, she was pretty excited, pretty pumped to be able to be pitching in her first ACC championship game.
Place that NC State has not been since 2008. They lost to that great Virginia Tech team led by Angela Tincher. 3-1 is fouled at the plate, and a strike away from closing out a perfect inning for the first time tonight. That was the last time an ACC team made the Women's College World Series, 2008. No one was going to stop Tincher and the Hokies on their run to Oklahoma City. That was the last finals trip. The last win was 06. The last NCAA was 07. 3-2. Fouled at the plate.
ACC making a lot of noise. National news.
Yep.
NC State with the home runs. 86 on the season.
On Lonnie Alameda's team has been consistent. North Carolina's got a shot to make it. NC State may have won the hearts of the selection committee just making the finals. 3-2 pitch. On the ground towards second and into center field. Good effort by Tate off her glove and a base hit for O'Brien.
Emily Wyman throwing a drop ball outside, or it looked like a screwball outside. And really not a great pitch to hit, but Maddie O'Brien getting enough of it to push it through the infield.
She extends the inning for a good power hitter in Hensley. 12 home runs for Hensley, second on Florida State this year. She takes a strike. It was part of that second inning where Florida State loaded the bases. She walked to lead off the inning. Bluffing from first base in O'Brien. She stays put.
For Florida State, they've been here before. 17th ACC title game appearance. They were expected to be here. #1 seed in the ACC coming in. NC State preseason was ranked #6 in the ACC and came into the tournament as #2.
Ground ball to Van Dyken, but foul. It's 1-2. We've already seen the Big East Championship today. We're in the midst of the ACC final. We've got the SEC Championship game over on ESPN. Both Missouri and Florida played earlier today in Lexington. There's a lot of question whether it's going to be Thomas against Rogers or if they're going to throw the #2s in that game. Don't forget the selection show tomorrow night on ESPNU. 2-2 on Hensley. I think it's an interesting argument whether or not you throw the #2s tonight.
It is. I'm torn. The competitor in me wants to say go for it, but then again, you know, your #2 when you're a Florida Missouri is still
pretty darn good, right?
Very good chance of winning, and so I think that's where the importance of having a good 1-2 punch is key. But in that situation, Missouri and Florida are both thinking about Oklahoma City, and although the SEC championship would be nice, their eyes are on the big prize.
Aaron Earlywine, the head coach of Missouri, knows Sean Rychik very well. It's his old buddy from the U.S. national team days. 2-2 on Hensley.
Lots of former men's fast pitch players coaching now around the country.
In the SEC too. Mike Larrabee over at Arkansas is one of those guys. Guy who won the Big East title. Kenny Erickson for South Florida.
Yes.
He's on those teams too.
Mike White over at Oregon.
Oregon, yep. Johnny Bargefield at Tulsa. Sean Rychik made sure to point out. 23 years playing professionally for the national, and 8 of those for the national team. Another 3-2, and this is a great at-bat from Hensley here. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up. Still with O'Brien at first base. 2 outs in the 3rd.
That was one of the highlights of the Pan American Games, was going and with the men's fast pitch USA team, because you know in the Olympics there's baseball, but for the Pan Ams you got to see men's fast pitch, and to see these guys come in and throw 80 miles an hour and play the same game we do. It was so much fun comparing and learning.
3-2 is lined to right, base hit. O'Brien gunning for 3rd, and she'll get in there standing. What an at-bat from Hensley. Eighth pitch of the at-bat and a single to right.
Kelly Hensley placing that ball into right field, giving these fans, which we have a packed house here tonight, something to cheer about. Went from 2 outs, run on first, to now here we're Morgan Bullock up to the plate with runners on 1st and 3rd.
Now Wyman retired the first 2 in this inning. O'Brien and Hensley with back-to-back base hits and a chance for Bullock. Doesn't have a home run this year, but is, as Jenny mentioned, a true triple threat hitter. Some power, some slap hitting. Play the short game really well. We'll see what Lonnie Alameda calls for here with Bullock. Leading hitter for Florida State this season.
I saw Coach Rychik come out of the dugout and wave the outfielders in. They're going to make her beat them. Bullock up the plate.
Yep. Look how shallow, especially Dent in center field is. Everybody, Wells, Dent, and Albertson all playing into the outfield. Flipped foul, and it's a ball and a strike.
I'm going to take away those Texas Leaguer bloopers in between in this situation. And if you're going to get beat, you want to make sure it's hit by you.
O'Brien at third, Hensley at first. And a strike over the outside corner. And again, Wyman a strike away, as she has been a couple of times in this inning, from ending this frame.
Morgan Bullock, one of the players that really talked about how important this ACC championship is, being able to play on their home turf.
Senior from Georgia. The 1-2. Just got a piece. And Bullock's one of the harder players on Florida State to strike out. Her strikeout number's a little bit up this year, but that's because her general hitting has been up. She's taken more swings. She struck out 4 times all of last year. That's it. One of the best plate protectors for Florida State.
Incredible, and someone you want up in this situation.
Yep. Runners at the corners and 2 outs. Florida State trying to crack the scoreboard. 1-2 is fielded by Wyman, and she ends the inning. A couple of 2-out singles, but Lonnie Alameda's team comes up short. We'll talk to the ACC Coach of the Year on the other side. Her team down 1-0 through 3. Down the stretch they come here in Tallahassee. 1-0. North Carolina State's got the lead on the Seminoles, whose coach in her 5th season at Florida State won ACC Coach of the Year, Lonnie Alameda. And we welcome in Lonnie Alameda from the Florida State dugout. Coach, had some opportunities early against Emily Wyman, haven't been able to crack the scoreboard. What have you seen from Wyman that has given you trouble?
She's hitting her spots real well, like we knew she would, and mixing her speeds, and they're defensively just playing out right now for her, and it's awesome. It's an awesome ball game right now.
Coach Lacey Waldrop in the circle. What was your plan coming in, knowing NC State and the power that they have?
Yeah, I mean, they're a dead red hitting team, and, you know, lots of home runs, so mixing speeds, and they made some adjustments to her, so now we got to change our game plan a little bit, and Lacey's pretty confident with that, and so we'll see what we got here.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Former Oklahoma Sooner, Lonnie Alameda. Played volleyball and softball at OU. He's a transfer from an NAIA school and a 2-sport athlete for the Sooners, who earlier today clinched the Big 12 regular season title. They don't have a tournament in the Big 12. They clinched it earlier today. It was a good race between Oklahoma and Texas for most of the season.
Yes, 2 teams that we'll be looking to see down the stretch.
Yep. A double in the second for Albertson, but she was left stranded in scoring position. NC State has had some troubles with runners in scoring position in the series. In the ACC tournament, I should say.
So when you come to postseason, it's timely hitting.
Yep.
Really getting that hit when you have the opportunity, because as postseason increases, those opportunities are less and less.
Slow roller to third. Cenas makes the play. 1 down. Speaking of the Sooners, as you mentioned, they clinched the Big 12 earlier today. Last 13 weeks at the top of the rankings. Oregon also clinched the Pac-12, their first ever regular season title. The Pac-12 doesn't have a postseason tournament either. Big Ten tournament's going on this weekend, but Michigan was at the top. They finally lost a game. I think it was, what, last week, when Nebraska finally took 2 of 3 from the Wolverines. They had a 20-plus game win streak this year. I think the Big Ten's probably a little underrated right now, as Bethany Wells swings and misses.
I agree, and I think, too, even the top 10 teams, they've had some big losses this week, and when it comes to this point in season, anything can happen. You know, the game doesn't know your rankings, and on any given day, anybody can win.
Wells flew out her first time to left field. Redshirt senior. She, Caitlin Dent, and Katie Mansilla off the bench for North Carolina State are the only 3 seniors. They all missed their commencement ceremony today, unfortunately. But I think they'll trade it for playing in the ACC championship.
Most definitely. They brought their cap and gowns along with them.
Yep.
I can guarantee you this, there's no place they'd rather be than having the opportunity to play for this championship.
There is Caitlin Dent. 2-2. Bethany Wells had a great story told to us by Sean Rychick about Bethany. She was sitting after the semifinal game, just kind of sitting against the wall after they beat Virginia Tech. And Sean Rychick goes, what's going on? She goes, I don't know what to do. What do you mean? Well, usually I'm getting set to pack my bags after the semifinals. Not used to being in the championship game. Waldrop gets the strikeout, her 4th of the game. And there are 2 down. Speaking of these 2 teams, the baseball teams will square off on Monday Night Baseball. ACC Monday Night pregame gets us going at 6:30. Then number 7 Florida State, number 9 North Carolina State. NC State won 3-1 earlier today. Carlos Rodon was phenomenal, pitched 8 wonderful innings. And NC State has a half-game lead on the Seminoles at the top of the Atlantic Division. It'll be a good one on Monday night on ESPNU. The NC State team, the softball team, actually sat around for lunch and watched that game from earlier today. Very good pitching matchup in that one today, too. Leah Jones, a strikeout her first time.
Lacey Waldrop on the mound trying to keep Florida State in this game. Coach Alameda talked about this team being really emotionless, and we're seeing that today. She said they don't get too high and they don't get too low, but she said oftentimes there's times where the coaching staff gets fired up, pumped up, and they look to the team and it's like they expect to be here. And she said it's good in a way. That's just their character. Their expectations are high, which is always a great thing.
Waldrop trying to finish a perfect inning. Pair of strikeouts in the 4th, and the Wolfpack go down in order. But Sean Rychick, his team is in the lead. We'll talk to the first-year head coach of the North Carolina State Wolfpack on the other side of this break. It's 1-0 NC State as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Lone run of this game came in the 3rd for the Wolfpack. They lead Florida State 1-0 through 3.5 innings. And we're joined by the first-year head coach of NC State, Sean Rychick. After 8 years at Boston, you come over here to North Carolina State. Coach, what does it mean to this team, to you, to bring this team to the ACC final, maybe a step away from the NCAA tournament?
There's a lot of pride in this program, and you know, to kind of come in and make this big a jump in the first year here really feels good for me and my staff. But I got to give a lot of credit to the girls. They've worked hard. They've listened to what we wanted them to do, and we've been able to execute for quite a while now.
Emily Wyman, talk about her success she's had this year, Coach.
She's been unbelievable. I don't know if anybody saw that this type of year was about to happen. She's a great competitor out there, and a lot of ground balls. It gives our defense a chance to get outs, and just competing like crazy right now.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Great run in Boston, winning as coach in Boston history. And this North Carolina State team, which hasn't been to the NCAA since 07, 23-31 a year ago. What a turnaround under Sean Rychick. They got some key wins. They've looked good against the top 25. They played a very tough schedule. A lot of the selection criteria, they seem to fit it. Even though the RPI 45 isn't a guarantee, their schedule's so good. They've had some quality wins, and they're about as hot as anybody right now. 11 in a row and 18 of their last 20. That's something that the selection committee is going to be looking at tomorrow night.
Yes, it's not only RPI. There's many other factors that go into making the postseason tournament. And they're right in line for it and hoping for that ticket tonight, winning this game.
As Kirsten Austin fouls one away to start the bottom of the 4th. NC State's last trip, 07. Misa Navas, who a lot of people respect, was dismissed and ends up, though, at South Carolina under Bev Smith. She's the associate there now. South Carolina's a team that actually both Coach Rychick and Coach Alameda talked about. Maybe that's a team that does make the field out of this area. Both of them think that this should be a 4-bid league. That both Carolina schools, Florida State and Virginia Tech should make it on a lot of the criteria. A lot of those schools fit it.
We talk a lot about, too, just the coaching staffs of the ACC and doing a lot for the conference. And nationally getting out there, playing good teams at the beginning because that's their chance to kind of get that RPI number up.
NC State has played Oklahoma and Michigan and Texas. And Florida State has run through their competition. They've been in the top 25 for a good portion of the last month and a half. Line shot foul. Infield single for Austin back in the second. Florida State had 3 aboard in the second inning. And Wyman got out of that jam. 5 left on base by the Seminoles so far tonight. One, two. Very, very close. Counts even.
Emily Wyman painting those corners. Really close, Adam, right there on the inside corner. And you got to give her credit to not giving in, not throwing over the plate, and having done some Pac-12 games and watching it on TV. A lot of pitchers are missing over the wide of the plate, and I'm really impressed with Wyman and her sense of, the black part of the plate we often refer to. And she hits it and then goes a little bit, half a ball in from there, trying to get the hitters to chase her pitches.
7th pitch of the at-bat against Austin, leading off the 4th. Tried to wait back, but swung through it for the first strikeout since the first inning for Emily Wyman. Coming up later on tonight over on ABC, Kia NBA Countdown gets us going at 8 Eastern. Then the Knicks on the road in Indianapolis. That series split at a game apiece in New York. Go to Indianapolis tonight, maybe without J.R. Smith, who's questionable. Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks, Paul George and the Pacers in Game 3 from Indianapolis tonight. It's the NBA on ABC. One away for Bailey Shanella. An appeal down to first base, and Tim Casati says that she went around.
Both these pitchers, Emily Wyman and Lacey Waldrop, can make the ball dance.
Yeah.
Crystal Bustos, my former Olympic teammate, she would always be at third base, say, make the ball dance, kid, make the ball dance. And these two pitchers are prime examples of making the ball dance. You can see the movement on it, and then when you mix speeds, that's why this is the 1-2 punch of the lowest ERA in the ACC.
Waldrop and Wyman, 2 best ERAs. 3rd best ERA belonged to Monica Perry, who's Florida State's, for lack of a better term, number 2. It's really a 1A, 1B kind of combination for FSU. Back to Wyman, easy play, 2 down. Emily Wyman, the ACC Pitcher of the Year this year. Her pitching coach in her first year this season is Courtney Oliver. Courtney Oliver is a Hofstra alum, was with Hofstra the last couple of seasons, and the last 4 pitchers she's coached to Conference Player of the Year, 4 seasons in the last 5. So Olivia Galati, who's won it twice out of CAA.
Yes.
And then in the America East, Cassidy Hardy won the Pitcher of the Year. Now she comes and gets an award for Wyman as well. The coaching staff deserves a lot of credit. Sean Rychek very quick to point that out.
Absolutely, Adam, and he gives credit where credit is due, and they've earned that to come in and get Conference Pitcher of the Year right off the bat. And you talk to Emily Wyman, and the first thing she says is Courtney Oliver, my pitching coach, and what a difference she's made for her. And just the workouts, the intensity, the game plans, the pitch calling, all of those things factor in that is attributed to Wyman's success and her earning that ACC Pitcher of the Year award this year as only a sophomore.
Galati's put up All-American numbers again this year. She's had a great last 2 seasons with Courtney Oliver, and now she's done her wonders with Wyman, who's trying to finish off her first perfect inning of the night. 0-2 on Cheatham. Pair of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 4th inning. It was all Wyman in that inning. Couple of strikeouts, and she makes the one ball that got put into play. She makes the play on that too. Good inning, 4th.
Beth Mowens along with with a couple of Olympic gold medalists, Jessica Mendoza and Michelle Smith. And we are excited about unveiling the field of 64. We're going to find out where everybody's headed for the NCAA tournament.
I want to know who the underdog of this year is going to be. Texas,
LSU, Arizona State,
Michigan.
There's some good pitching, some good hitting. Kaylani Ricketts,
Chelsea Thomas, Jackie Trainer, Raven Siobhan. What better way to be tested?
the closest games, the most excitement.
And that's really what the postseason is about.
An opportunity to bring that trophy home.
And Beth, Jess, and Michelle will be in Charlotte after they finish up the SEC tournament tonight. Take the quick trip over to North Carolina and have the selection show for you tomorrow night. These 4 teams will all be waiting. Florida State essentially a lock. The winner of this game is definitely a lock. Get the auto bid here in the ACC final. And Virginia Tech and North Carolina still an opportunity. And these are the things that the selection committee is looking at. RPI, I know we use that a lot, but there's a ton of stuff that they're going to be looking at. And the 4 ACC teams that we're talking about, they really fit a lot of these categories.
They do. Overall record, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, results against common opponents that would be in season in their conference, significant wins and losses, end of season performance, and RPI, of course, one that we refer to quite often, and the number that every team is thinking about when they plan their schedules for the upcoming year.
Right. Lana Van Dyken, first pitch swinging, grounds out to second. Start for Lacey Waldron. We'll have the selection show tomorrow night. We'll have coverage, by the way, of 6 different regionals across the ESPN networks. And then we'll have all 8 super regionals. And then, of course, every pitch of the Women's College World Series from Oklahoma City starting the final weekend of May. Kirsty Grant popped out her first time. Number 9 hitter takes the ball up and away.
I can remember the selection shows when I was a collegiate athlete. You're wondering, are you going to host? Where you're going to go? Who is coming your way? And the postseason begins.
Florida State, it'd be very curious to see where they end up. Had 47 wins a year ago and still had to travel a long way. Went all the way to Los Angeles. They could end up somewhere maybe in the Midwest. I think Lonnie Alameda's team would be pretty happy with that.
Talked about bracketology and the coaching staff all having their own brackets.
They were joking around yesterday, kind of, oh, I had this one, I had this team. You didn't have that team. It's almost like, you know, the men's basketball tournament. Everybody's got their little pool going.
Yeah, so I talked about we need to get Michelle Obama to fill out a bracket.
Yeah. Why don't you get on that?
I know.
You've got connections.
Let's move.
I feel like you of all people have got the connections to try to make that happen.
We need to get her on board with the road to the Women's College World Series.
2-2 on Grant. 1 away here in the 5th. The sophomore Waldrop deals. And there's strikeout number 6. She's retired now the last 6 in a row. This is the road to the Women's College World Series, which truly begins in earnest tomorrow night on ESPNU with the selection show. We'll have regionals, 16 sites, double elimination, 4 teams apiece. The winners of those 16 move on to the super regionals. They get paired off at 8 different sites, 2 teams each in a best of 3. We'll have every pitch of the Women's College World Series from Oklahoma City with the 8 finalists. Renata Davis grounds one towards third. Courtney Cenas caps off a 1-2-3 inning that took just 7 pitches. Waldrop is locked in right now. She's sent down 7 in a row. It's a 1-0 game through 4.5. Only 1 run in this game. It belongs to North Carolina State. It came in the 3rd. Florida State trying to crack the scoreboard against the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Emily Wyman, here in the bottom of the 5th. See the ESPN poll for the top 10 in softball. Oklahoma remains at the top. Last 13 weeks they've been up there. Michigan rounds out those top 8. And again, this isn't set in stone by any means, but the top 8 seeds will be in line to host their super regionals. Well, that last spot between Michigan and maybe LSU, there's a lot of battling right now. That's going to be a very interesting race down the stretch. See who ends up with that 8th spot. It almost seems like the top 7, not cemented, but a lot of people have a very similar top 7. That 8th spot seems to be up in the air.
Yes, yes. And Alabama kind of struggling as of late. LSU right there.
Crossoff chops one foul, and it's 0-2 on the number 9 hitter for Florida State.
Like we've seen this last week, like I said, a lot of big losses by the top 10 schools. So on any given day, anything can happen, and that's what is so great about the game of softball and postseason play.
Called strike 3 in the outside corner. And now Wyman is starting to lock in. She's retired 5 in a row. That's her 4th strikeout of the day.
Emily Wyman once again painting the corners. You can see that screwball. Casa, a slapper, moving away from that screwball. Patel was kind of caught off guard by that called strike.
She's now fanned 3 of the last 4 hitters back to the top at Victoria East. This is a much more aggressive part of the lineup. The top of the order, which has been very productive in the ACC tournament, much more aggressive. They have really battled Wyman, a lot of long at-bats.
Yes, and that's why that last at-bat against Kossoff was such a big out for them, because we have East and Cenas and O'Brien, the hot hitters for Florida State, coming up. Talk a lot about that number 9 spot being your second leadoff.
JoAnne Graf Field in Tallahassee, ACC championship game. Adam Amin, 2-time Olympic medalist Jenny Finch. A great crew here at JoAnne Graf Field. North Carolina State looking for its first NCAA trip since 2007. They're not a lock to be an at-large, but certainly close. They could win and remove all doubt. Meanwhile, Florida State seeking its conference record 12th ACC championship to try to cap off a fantastic season where they won a school record 18 ACC games. They're on their home turf and want to close out strong. Out of the 4 teams that could get an NCAA bid out of the ACC, Florida State's the only sure lock right now. 2-1 is slowly hit towards third. Van Dyken has to make a quick throw, and Jones kept her foot on the bag, and there's 2 down. Leah Jones is one of the best first basemen of the ACC.
Lena Van Dyken doing a good job of shuffling quick, getting rid of it. And Leah Jones executing this out, doing a good job of stretching and keeping that toe on the bag. When we get to these later innings, every out is a big out.
Yeah. 6 in a row now sent down by Wyman. And here is Cenas with the bases empty and 2 down. Big home run hitter that has been slumping in the last month. Can she come through? Flips one into short center. Long run for Dent, but she's there. And it's back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Wyman, and the ACC Pitcher of the Year has retired 7 Seminoles in a row. We're through 5 in Tallahassee. The Wolfpack are on top.
Being in Oklahoma City in the World Series is definitely a dream come true. All of us grew up watching the Women's College World Series. That's like a dream for any young girl who plays softball.
You don't really realize that you're there until you get out there and you see all the fans, you see everything going on.
We're not okay with just going 1 year. We want to go back.
And I'm thinking about it every weekend when we play games. I'm thinking I want to stand in that field again.
What can we do to get back there, back on the big stage?
Only 2 teams out of the ACC have ever made it to Oklahoma City, Florida State and Virginia Tech. Florida State's pretty much a lock to make the tournament. Will NC State be there? If they win tonight, they definitely will be. There's a possibility that they get an at-large bid as well. You'll see it on the selection show tomorrow night on ESPNU. 6 regionals covered between the ESPN networks. We'll have all 8 super regionals across the networks, and then every pitch of the Women's College World Series. There's Bucky Dent right in the front row here in Tallahassee. His daughter Caitlin getting set to step in to lead off the North Carolina State 6th. There's Marianne, his wife, as well. Bucky made the trip from Gainesville, seeing his son Cody, twin brother of Caitlin, play on senior day for the Florida Gators baseball team. Dent has got a home run here in the ACC tournament. She's got the lone RBI of this game. She had the only RBI of the earlier season series when North Carolina State put up 1 run in 3 games against Florida State. She had the lone RBI then. Eight in a row sent down by Lacey Waldrop. She's starting to lock in too. Both pitchers are. She's back in the 3rd inning. A 3-hit inning for North Carolina State. And this was just enough. A little trickler off the glove of Hensley that scored Van Dyken. That's the only run on either side here in the ACC final today.
So Adam, we haven't seen too many balls hit really hard.
Either side, right?
Right. Scout Albertson had that ball off the wall, but that's the only one that I would say was hit tremendously hard and even kind of sounded good off the bat. And I think it's a tribute to both the pitchers.
There's a hard hit ball into the gap in left center and all the way to the wall. Dent gunning for 2. She's in standing.
And of course, just as I say that,
right on cue.
Caitlin Dent hitting the ball hard. You can see here, recognizing that down and in pitch, seeing it deep and staying through it, just as NC State like to do. And you can see mom and dad are thrilled.
Well, Bucky's trying to keep a steady camera shot too, to his credit. Well, Bucky's kid is a huge insurance run for North Carolina State at second for the heart of the order. Here's Chelsea Tate, the number 3 hitter. 0 for 2 so far in this game. There's that changeup. 53 miles an hour. She can really pull a string on it.
She sure can, and then you combine that with her off curve and her drop, and we saw the rise ball last inning, which is a great mix for her. Changing up the eye level for the hitters is so important.
1 for 5 with runners in scoring position in this game, North Carolina State. They're 3 for 18 in the 3 games of the ACC tournament so far. Dent is in scoring position with nobody out. She's the first one to reach since she singled in that run back in the 3rd. Tate trying to deliver. Laid off that pitch upstairs. 2-2. North Carolina State is not really a small ball team. Only 4 sacrifices this year, but the 86 home runs, that's what stuck out. These are power hitters trying to get gap drives and a lot of long balls. 2-2. Cheatham could not hold on.
We have 86 on this season, and Coach Rychik says it's all about line drives. We're trying to hit line drives, and as a hitter, that's usually when it happens. It's when you're trying for a home run, that's when it doesn't happen. You're just trying to make contact, see the ball through, stay short, and especially against a pitcher like Waldrop, it's crucial because of the movement that she does have.
Movement there and a rise for her 7th strikeout. Got a doubleheader of postseason lacrosse. First round underway earlier today. You'll see a very good player, National Player of the Year candidate Rob Pennell for Cornell take on 6th seed Maryland. Towson and number 3 Ohio State. Ohio State's never hosted. They'll do it on Sunday on ESPNU. Cornell, Maryland on ESPN2. Both games available on Watch ESPN. Hannah Summer, big at bat here for a big bopper. 10 home runs this season. Tim Casati says that she did not go around. 1 ball, no strikes. 0 for 2 today. She came up with runners in scoring position in the 3rd. Came up with 2 on and 2 out. Struck out swinging against Lacey Waldrop.
Hannah Summer is in this lineup for her offense, for her power. She does take big cuts. She has 10 home runs on the season. She goes up to bat, the team chants, here comes the boom.
Ahead 2-0. 3-0. Very good Florida State defense, by the way. There is a change. That's Hoffner, Erica Hoffner. Came in for Kossoff. She'll often do that. She'll be a substitute late in games defensively. Obviously, Kossoff can still come back in and hit out of that 9 spot if Lonnie Alameda chooses to have her do so. Waldrop's loose. Always smiling. Never really seems to get rattled with anything. Giving up a leadoff double here in the 6th, but still feels like she's in control and in command, although down 3-0 in this count to Summer.
They're very stoic. You're not going to see too much emotion out of Waldrop.
See if Summer gets the green light. Take all the way. It's a strike.
Interesting too here. Rychik didn't sacrifice bunt with Chelsea Tate. And I think that's just the confidence that he has in this lineup, and I think maybe too going for the long ball.
Right.
They're willing to risk it. For a lot of teams, you get the lead off to double, the next batter is going to move her over 60 feet, and then you're on third base.
Yeah, only 4 sacrifices all year for NC State. Albertson has a double in this game. She's on deck, and she's been hot. 3-2 on Summer with a runner at second. Popped up. East with room. 2 away.
To Adam, hitting is contagious, and when you're seeing your teammates hit home runs, you want to do that. You want to make solid contact, and it's evident that this lineup, it is contagious, and it's 1 through 9 all have power.
Albertson in the number 5 spot getting set to dig in. Don't forget, over on ESPN, SEC championship game. That'll be the second game today that both Missouri and Florida play. The weather yesterday in Lexington, brutal. They played the semifinal games earlier today. Missouri and Florida, 8 Eastern, ESPN, SEC title game between those two powerhouses. The selection show tomorrow night at 10 Eastern on ESPNU. Albertson is 1 for 2 with a double. She digs in with a big insurance run and Dent at second. Just missed low Waldrop. 1 ball and no strikes. Lead-off double from Dent. But Waldrop has retired the last 2, the 3-hitter and the 4-hitter, and trying to get a 12 home run hitter in Albertson here. One and one.
See Waldrop, she's really focused out there on the mound, and I love just her serenity. She gets the sign, she takes a big deep breath, she doesn't rush, and a lot of pitchers, when they do get into pressure situations, that's when they tend to rush. And she keeps that consistency and that even keelness out there on the field.
54-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2 on Albertson. 1 strike away from leaving another North Carolina State player in scoring position. In the air, well hit, left center field. Austin and Bullock are back. Austin's there. Inning over. Waldrop works around the leadoff double, and now the Seminoles have 3, 4, and 5 coming up. It'll be Maddie O'Brien to lead things off when you come back. Only 1 run in this game. It belongs to the Wolfpack. It came on a Dent RBI in the 3rd. Emily Wyman has started to lock in. She's retired 7 in a row. But she has to go through one of the toughest parts of the order in the ACC right here. 3, 4, and 5 for Florida State coming up, and it's Maddie O'Brien to lead things off. Wyman with a first pitch strike. We've seen a lot of that tonight.
Florida State just has not been able to put a couple hits together. And this stadium is packed if they can just get some of that energy, and that's where I think Coach Alameda struggles a little bit too with the emotionless team, but that's just the character. But at this point, you want to get that emotion going.
Maddie O'Brien trying to get things going. This was off of Lori Spingola yesterday, a big insurance home run, a 2-run shot in the 5th inning to make it 3-0. That would end up being the final in the semi for Florida State to get to the championship. Down 1-0, bottom 6, and an 0-2 count on one of the tougher hitters in this lineup.
Maddie O'Brien starts with her stance open and then strides evenly with the pitcher. A lot of lefties, you'll see them stay open. Some hitters feel more comfortable that way, able to see the ball, react to the ball.
Two and two on O'Brien. Full count. O'Brien and Hensley. They reached on singles back in the 3rd. They were the last 2 Seminoles to reach base against Wyman. Payoff pitch. Flip towards short. Went out of Davis there. 1 down. Big first out here in the 6th inning.
Maddie O'Brien staying tough, even in that full count situation. Making sure she misses wide and not over the plate. Tremendous job by Wyman all day today, really, and that out especially.
Just missed the corner against Hensley, who's been on base twice in 2 trips. A walk and a single so far today. She was, again, the last one to reach against Wyman all the way back in the 3rd. 8 in a row. Retired since by Wyman. Wyman was recruited by Sean Wychick to Boston University. She's a Maryland native. Wychick wanted to see if maybe she'd make the trip up to Boston. Instead, opted to come to NC State. Obviously, a quick turnaround. Wychick shows up sophomore year, and a completely different pitcher now. Wyman is the ACC Pitcher of the Year. Trying to maintain a 1-0 lead in the 6th. On one hop to first. Jones makes the play, and there are 2 down. 9 in a row sent down by Wyman.
Wyman said this summer she knew that she was their pitcher. They had a freshman pitcher coming in, but really she was the only pitcher, and they were going to have a 2-man pitching staff, and she wanted to take ownership of it and knew that she needed to come in ready, prepared, and be in the best possible shape to lead this team, and that's exactly what she's done this season.
Here's Bullock, who's 0 for 2. Way out in front of that 52-mile-an-hour delivery. Bullock on a 14-game hit streak, has been on base in 20 straight. That's on the line, but more importantly, she represents the tying run at the plate right now.
Wyman has pitched over 86% of the innings this year for NC State.
Shot off of the mask of Matt Dunbar. Seems to be all right.
Bullock getting a piece of it.
That's all right. He's a Boston guy. He's a big Red Sox fan. So I bet he had some things to say to Bucky Dent if and when he had the opportunity. I had a chat with Matt yesterday. Now lives in Florida.
That's why I always chose to be on the other side. Big kudos and credit to all of the catchers out there and the brave umpires.
There's Bucky signing an autograph. Here's the 0-2 to Bullock. 1-2.
The baseball greats. I think of Gary Carter's daughter attended Florida State.
The late great Gary Carter, Gary was a class act. Had a few run-ins with him. He was good friends with one of Bucky's teammates, Sparky Lyon. They were managing the minors together up in the New York, New Jersey area. They're good friends. There's another strikeout for Emily Wyman. She has sent down the last 10 Seminoles in a row. And another 1-2-3 inning. She gets through the heart of the Seminole order, and we head to the 7th. NC State leading 1-0. Back in Tallahassee, and we welcome you back to the ACC on ESPN. The ACC championship game from JoAnne Graf Field, a 1-0 pitcher's duel between the ACC Pitcher of the Year Emily Wyman and Florida State's Lacey Waldrop. Seminoles are probably the only lock amongst those 4 teams to get into the tournament, the regular season champs. North Carolina State can remove any doubt if they win here today. If they can close it out, they'll get the automatic bid out of the ACC. Virginia Tech and North Carolina would have to wait until tomorrow night, the selection show, to see if they're going. Bethany Wells, the redshirt senior, digs in to lead off the North Carolina State 7. Waldrop has retired 11 of the last 12 Wolfpack hitters. Wells, who has gone through a bunch of injuries, 5 surgeries in her career, the redshirt senior, hoping this isn't her last game. A ball and a strike on Wells, who has 7 homers this year.
Literally, they said she's held together to end this season and to be able to play this season, to finish it out. She is a senior. She's led the team in home runs the last 2 years. She's just been a tremendous senior leader and a trooper, persevering through the many difficulties and the daily difficulties, really, of the pain that she has to endure.
29 career home runs. She and Renata Davis are tied for second all-time already. Davis is a sophomore. The record's 49. The 1-2. Strike 3. There's the 8th strikeout for Lacey Waldrop. There's one down here in the 7th. You'll see these 2 teams on the baseball diamond on our ACC Monday Night Baseball contest. Number 7 Florida State, number 9 NC State. Game 1 was today. NC State took it and took a half-game lead in the Atlantic Division on the Seminoles. ACC Monday pregame gets you going at 6:30. Then the game at 7 from Raleigh on ESPNU and watch ESPN. Leah Jones has struck out twice today. There's strike 1. Waldrop has done her job. Has been dynamite as of late. 12 of the last 13 retired, 8 strikeouts. You can't ask for much more.
Definitely not. She's trying to get the momentum back in the Seminoles dugout. Just owning these NC State hitters. See her showcasing that off-speed curve, just tremendous movement. And it's a late breaking off curve, which is why it is so tough to locate, to see, to hit, and recognize.
3 pitches, 3 swings, strikeout number 9 for Lacey Waldrop. Mixing it up well.
3 off-speed curves, back to back to back. And there you can see the movement, and that was probably the one that was closest to the hitting zone of all 3 of them.
A lot more flyouts today than she had yesterday, although her strikeout numbers today are up in the championship. Lana Van Dyken has a single and has scored the only run of this game. The freshman from Washington State gets set to step in. They've won 11 straight, North Carolina State. 15 of the last 16 and 18 of the last 20. And I think this performance, even if somehow they do end up losing this game, we're probably a little bit biased because we've seen it the last 2 days. We've seen the ACC this year. Hard to keep North Carolina State out, you would think. This is a fantastic performance with a first-year head coach and a complete turnaround. North Carolina State 3 defensive outs away from removing any doubt, taking an ACC title. 0-1 on Van Dyken. Chopper towards second. Hensley had to hurry, could not make the play in time. A single on the infield for Van Dyken. She extends the inning for the Wolfpack.
Van Dyken pulling that outside drop ball, but it's up the middle enough to buy her time. See, able to get on the top half of it, which buys her time with the bounce and then the location up the middle. Hustles it out. Just try to get a 2-out rally going for the NC State Wolfpack.
And a good power hitter out of the 9 spot. Good speed, good power from Grant. 6 home runs out of the 9 spot and a hat against Waldrop.
Senior, one of 3 seniors for NC State, Bethany Wells said it well. She said, to make a regional would be beyond my wildest dreams.
Yeah. You really have to understand what this means to North Carolina State. You get the best sense by talking with the seniors, Dent and Wells specifically. They only have 3 seniors on this team. A bright future for the Wolfpack, but they have not been to the tournament in 6 years. 2 balls and a strike on Grant.
They're literally playing to put on the uniform again.
Yeah.
And I think, too, coming into this game, Florida State was the #1 seed. They know they're going to a regional where NC State is playing for something. And, of course, Florida State talked about this early in the season, how much it would mean to win the ACCs on their home turf.
Waldrop hoping that her offense can make something happen in their last at bat. Trying to end the inning, Waldrop, the 2-2. Slow roller towards second. Hensley has to hurry, and in time at first base. They get the speedy Grant to finish out the 7th inning with no damage done. Waldrop has done her job today. Her defense has helped out as well. Good play by Hensley to get the out at first on a bang-bang play, and that may have been the wrong call. Either way, we go to the bottom of the 7th. So far, 6 innings of shutout softball from the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Emily Wyman. She has been fantastic, and really, as of late, she's retired 10 in a row.
Wyman really pinpoint location to all areas of the zone and nothing over the plate, which I think has been her key to success. You can see not afraid to go in on the hands and mixing speeds.
What can you say about Lacey Waldrop? 1 run allowed in 7 innings of work. She struck out 9. She's done her job. The 2 top pitchers in the ACC in terms of ERA this season. That's the matchup you would like to see in a championship setting. That's what we got tonight. Waldrop was absolutely worthy of a win, but her offense has been stymied by the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Wyman. Waldrop has to watch from the dugout and hope that her offense can do something against the sophomore. It'll be Austin, Shanella, and Cheatham due up here in the 7th. Strike 1 to Austin. 1 for 2, an infield single, and 1 of 5 strikeouts from Wyman today.
Timely hitting is what made the difference in that 1 run. Like you said, Adam, both pitchers have done a really good job in the circle.
NHRA Southern Nationals when we're done here in Tallahassee. North Carolina State 3 outs away from its first trip to the NCAA tournament in 6 years. On the ground to short. Davis, 1 out. 11 in a row sent down by Wyman. The Wolfpack were 8 games under 500 a year ago. They've turned that around. They're 14 games over 500 this year. Finished second in the ACC behind Florida State. 11 wins in a row, 18 of their last 20, and 2 outs away from an ACC title. just their second in program history. First pitch low to Shinella, 1 ball and no strikes.
No matter the outcome, this will be a season they will remember.
Yeah. Shinella, a fielder's choice, and a ground out back to Wyman today. Just off the corner. And when you get towards the bottom of the order, Jenny's talked about it. A lot of these hitters, 7, 8, 9, are waiting till they get a strike. They're going to try to coax a walk out of Wyman. Three and 0, and some very close pitches to lay off of.
See Wyman being very careful, but in this situation, like you said, Adam, you want to make sure you get the strikes. Still not over the plate, don't give in, but you definitely do not want to get behind 3 and 0.
All the way taken by Shinella. 1-run game in the 7th. Gomez, a pinch hitter's on deck. On the ground to first, knocked down by Jones. 2 away.
Wyman doing what she does best, getting the ground balls. Saw Renata Davis over there at short, getting that first out, keeping the ball in front. And then Leah Jones over at first base, knocking the ball down, making sure she gets the out.
We've seen this before. Macy Cheatham is not known for her offense. She's a very good defensive catcher. Celeste Gomez has a little bit of pop in her bat. The junior from Lake City, Florida. Earlier this season, when Florida State and North Carolina State met, she went 1 for 10 in the series, but her only base hit was a home run off of Wyman. She comes to the plate representing the tying run. Sean Rychek sending everybody a little bit further back. The outfield's playing at normal depth. The infield's back here. Gomez, the last hope for the Seminoles. Back to Wyman. And for the first time since 2007, the North Carolina State Wolfpack are headed to the NCAA tournament. They win the ACC championship.
What a fairy tale ending to a fairy tale season.
Sean Rychek, in his first season at the helm of North Carolina State, has led the Wolfpack back to the field of 64. And a gem thrown by the ACC Pitcher of the Year, Emily Wyman, sends down the last 13 Seminoles and hurls a shutout in the ACC championship game. What a finale. Sean Rychek was emotional when he talked to us all week. You can see it there. He's led this team back to the NCAA tournament. Coming up next on ESPN2, the NHRA Southern Nationals. For Jenny Finch, our wonderful crew here in Tallahassee, Adam Amin sings So Long from the ACC Championship. North Carolina State wins just its second ever ACC title, and they're headed back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 6 years.